Well, it's time for June Deer Chores. It's crazy how the time flies by, and that means that really we're looking at 3 months for deer season once we roll into June. So it's crazy how it ends, and you know, it seems like it's so long, and we start in September, last season's going to January, and then all of a sudden we're back to June here. So there's a lot of things that we could be doing in June. I didn't mention shooting your bow, tuning your broadheads. There's a lot of that is so critical to start doing in June, and making sure that you're really getting a few months of shooting in instead of just a few weeks when it comes to the season, just to be responsible. But also just to refine new things that you might be trying on your bow. It's really, by the time you're starting to get into June and July, you should be used to any new things, any new bows, your new shooting techniques, releases, sights, whatever it might be, certainly arrow combinations too. But number one in June Deer Chores is buckwheat no-till. And I talk about my ultimate no-till planting, and a lot of people are very confused on when to plant buckwheat, and I talk about this all the time, that you need to back up from your date that you expect to plant in. So for me, I need to plant around August 10th, August 5th, somewhere around there, and I'm looking at rain forecasts and moisture in the air. So when it gets to around August 1st, end of July, if I see a big rain event coming, I have a hard time missing that and passing that up. If I look into August, it looks like a lot of rain coming, then August 5th, August 10th is about that perfect time for me. So if I'm saying August 10th, I need to back up because I have good soil. I need to back up 6 weeks and plant my buckwheat. I only want my buckwheat to grow 6 weeks. I don't want it to be chest tall. I want it to be more like thigh high to waist high tall, right around there. If you have poor soil, I'd recommend 8 weeks. So for me, I'm looking at, boy, when it gets into the 20th of June, 25th, I'm planting my buckwheat. 18th, 15th of June, somewhere around there. If I had bad soil, then that might mean that I'm planting the 10th of June, 5th of June, 15th of June, somewhere around there. I hope that makes sense. You're backing up from your expected August date of planting. A lot of people are planting buckwheat in May, and I can't even think of an area where it's good to plant in May. For example, you get up north and you say, well, I have a shorter growing season. I'm going to plant August 1st, end of July. The problem is you run into frost. And so if you have buckwheat in the ground May 25th and you get a frost on June 7th, your buckwheat is dead. Mine died, I say this all the time, on July 4th. It was about 2002, 2001, 2000, right around there. We had frost and freeze in the UP and Michigan every month except August, and actually was frost on the ground September 1st. So that can happen, and it happens often where you just get a slight frost, your buckwheat's dead. I've even had a light enough frost where I had different stages of growth on buckwheat because of lack of moisture. So I had buckwheat that was a foot tall, buckwheat that was just a few inches tall. And we had just a light enough frost where it killed the top growth of buckwheat, didn't kill the lower growth. So you have to think about not only frost, but that timing of 6 to 8 weeks of using that ultimate no-till where you're actually seeding into the standing buckwheat and crushing it over the seed, or in the case of Nebraska, crushing the buckwheat, then adding the seed after. But by and large, though, you're really looking at that planting time and backing up. So June is the perfect time to plant buckwheat. May is not for any area. Let alone, I know people that are planting buckwheat in lower Michigan, southern Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. It's just way, way too early. Your planting time is more like August 15th in those regions. You should literally be planting around the 1st of July with your buckwheat, end of June. So don't fall in that trap of you got to get out and plant something. Instead, look at your soil condition. Look at your standing rye. If you have standing rye in the field you're planting buckwheat in, it's a great plant to plant into. You can wait till your rye is 15, 18 inches. As long as you can see that soil really well, you can spray it. You can mow it. As long as you have good soil exposure, you throw the buckwheat right on the ground. It germinates very well with an approaching rain. So let that be your deciding time of when you plant buckwheat, instead of just being in May and you can't wait to get out and plant. Number 2, switchgrass mowing. May is a good time. We're getting into the end of May, and I happen to be going on a fishing trip to Canada. I do other things other than whitetail, and one of those primary things I love to do is fish. We're going up to Canada to fish walleye, and I can't wait. So that'll be fun. I rarely take vacations, but when I do, a lot of times they center around fishing. But bottom line is my switchgrass will need to be mowed. There's certain portions of old switch that have a few weeds. There's certain portions of new switch that have a few weeds. And by the time you get into end of May, 1st of June, you can see that. I don't care if the weeds are 15 inches tall, 12 inches tall, and there's switchgrass growing down within. I'm going to cut those weeds usually down to about 5-6 inches to the top of the switchgrass, or even cutting the switchgrass. Because that switchgrass, the older it becomes when it's first year, and when it's already established in its second year, it experiences exponential growth. So when you cut it, then it eventually outcompetes the weeds. I have a lot of switchgrass right now that's 7, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches tall. It's May 20th right now, and there's goldenrod growing around it that is a similar height. If that goldenrod doesn't stand pace with it, I don't need to touch it. But let's say I come back in early June and I see that that switchgrass is below the weed level, then I'm just going to cut it one time and then let it go on that second, third year switch. Really don't have to worry about it much other than that, because it's already in that exponential, really fast growth phase, that second year, third year. But you have to maintain it. You have to watch out for those weeds, and mowing is a great option. Now, there's folks out there that'll use quinchloric. Quinchloric will take care of foxtail, takes care of various weeds. The problem is quinchloric has to be sprayed exactly. And even those that do it for a living would recommend using some type of dye foam within your sprayer, so that when you do spray, you can see exactly where you're sprayed. Because if there's an overlap, then you'll double the amount and you'll kill your switch. You can potentially kill your switch. So on new switch, that first year switch, you'd put 4.5 to 6 ounces and no more than that on your switch of quinchloric per acre. So you have to be very careful with that. It doesn't matter if you use 12 gallons, 15 gallons of water to provide that 4.5 to 6 ounces to mix it and spread it out per acre, but it has to be very precise, because you can put up to 8 ounces, maybe even 9 ounces of quinchloric on an established switch. The problem is if you double it, you're at 18 ounces. If you double it, you're at 9 or 12 ounces on younger switch, and you kill the switch. So you have to be very, very careful. I don't recommend that most people use quinchloric for that reason. So mowing can really be your friend. If you see that you have a lot of weeds and you can see that switch growing, mow it down in June. You can mow it again in July, August, and let it go in August. And eventually that switch is going to overtake your weeds. It outcompetes everything else, but you have to baby it in those first few years. It's not really scientific. This isn't hard stuff. You just have to take care of it. Keep an eye on it. Number 3, mock scrapes. What's really cool about June, if we take our cameras out, I have a big pile of cameras outside right now. I have piles in here. I have piles on the table right here. But what we're doing with our cameras is we're getting them out of the woods for a month, month and a half, because I can't identify the bucks that are growing until sometime in June. And at the same time, there's no turkeys. We're not hunting turkeys usually the end of May into early June. So we do have some cell cams out for turkeys, just to watch the turkeys around and keep tabs. I love seeing some fawns. We have a really cool fawn picture that we're sharing with you right now. And we just picked that up a little bit a couple days ago. And those fawn pictures are really cool. So I love seeing those when they first come out. But bottom line is we're getting the cameras out of the woods. And June is a great time for mock scrapes, which we'll talk about in the second year. But it's a really good time to get your cameras out. So get your cameras out in June. But first, we're making mock scrapes. I like making mock scrapes in June if I had to choose any month. I like making them July, August, September too. But it gets them established. And what I like about the summertime mock scrapes is you're putting your stand locations in areas where you expect fall movement, not summer movement. So I'm putting my cameras and my mock scrapes at fall stand locations. I don't really care where they're at during the summer. I like to see them. But rest assured, if you have a buck that you're going to be after in the fall, and he's going to go on by one of your tree stands, he'll show that during the summertime. Maybe you only get 2 or 3 pictures of him going by that stand. But you'll know he's going by that stand. He'll hit your mock scrape. He'll remember that. And he'll be back during the fall. When you get a picture of him in June, July, August, you know he's going to be back during fall. So that's why I like putting my cameras, my mock scrapes during the summertime on spots I expect to shoot bucks during the fall, and not where I expect them to see them during the summer, because it's all about intel. And in showing where a deer's at during the summer just tells me he's alive. I already know that from either sheds or seeing his pictures at the end of the season. Talking to neighbors, I already know he's there. So I don't need to watch him all summer long. But I won't be able to recognize him until June anyways. So I'm getting my cameras out, my mock scrapes that go hand in hand, stand locations too. Those 3 go hand in hand when it comes to being able to identify bucks and making sure that you're setting up for a great mock scrape in front of your stand location, and also considering where that camera goes every single time. Whether you have a camera at every stand location or not, that's not the point. The point is you have the tree available in the location to set that up with all those 3 things: stand, camera, mock scrape taking place at the same time. And number 5, Hey, it's hard for me. This will be the second year. This will be the fourth year we've done something for Camp Kicking Bear. But June 11th is our charity event this year. And you know what, whether it's shooting archery, maybe even scouting some areas or going for a hike on the land, maybe turkey hunting somewhere else or something, my priorities are focused on the charity event in June. Last couple of years, last year we had it Father's Day. We've done some things like that in the past. This will be on June 11th. It's a Saturday. It's going to start at 10 a.m. We're almost sold out of our tickets for the habitat portion. By the time you see this, we might be sold out, but it'll be a fun day. We'll put it online. Last year we put, I think I titled it 25 deer hunting questions answered. It's had over 200,000 views, but it was an hour and a half long or more. And we showed that whole event, you know, kind of taking people around a certain area of the property. We're going to go to a completely different area this year and see how that's set up. But that's a big priority for me, and I hope it is for you too. We have a hunt drawing. There might still be tickets left for that. We have 100 tickets times $100. Last year, Leo, fireman from Ann Arbor, Michigan, won. He was out here. Dante's actually watching this video right now. Gunner's shooting. Dylan's off with clients or doing whatever he's doing right now. So Gunner's filming. Dante's in the room too. Dante filmed Leo in a really cool hunt. Leo calls it a hunt of a lifetime. He had a great time with a buck we call Lucky. And he became really lucky that day. And Lucky actually made it this year. So maybe someone who wins that hunt drawing will get a chance at Lucky. But we have a 2-day hunt. It'll be the end of September. It's the only other person other than close family and friends that are going to be on the property this year. And we host you. We have a great time. We had a great time last year. So those are $100 a piece times 100 tickets. The habitat portion of the event is $300 times 50 people. And so we put those two together, raffled off one of my bows last year too. And we expect to give Camp Kicking Bear $25,000 to $30,000. We gave them to over $21,000 last year. And if you don't know what Camp Kicking Bear is, look it up. Just look up Camp Kicking Bear. Ray Howell's the founder of that. Want to express our condolences to Ray. He recently lost his wife Karen to cancer just in the last several days. So very sad. They're two very close people that worked hard for Camp Kicking Bear because they believed in it. I believe in it too. And what other kind of organization is an organization you should support than something like Camp Kicking Bear, where it helps get kids in the outdoors, getting a bow in their hand and exposing them to the outdoors where they might not otherwise be exposed. Ray was one of those people a long time ago as a teenager where someone mentored him and took him into the outdoors, and it made him a hunter for life, and it turned him into getting kids in the outdoors too. So that is a huge priority of mine in June, and it actually replaces some of my deer chore priorities going into the month of June. Like maybe I should shoot my bow a little bit more, but that is a huge priority. And I hope you guys will enjoy the video that comes out of that. I hope you guys get a chance to attend that. It's only 50 people for the Habitat Day. We'll probably have 30 to 40 kids for that. We have a few guests that'll be coming too. And it'll be a great time. I hope you can make it. But if not, maybe you can still get in on that hunter raffle. We'll get this video out early part of June. And there might be some tickets left for that. But again, every penny, every dime earned gets written in a check to Ray at the end of the event. We pay him right away because we believe in that cause. And to me, it's the #1 hunting charity event that I could do and participate in. And that's why it's one of my June priorities. And bottom line is June. Boy, it's getting close to hunting. Again, we get into mid-June. We're 3 months away from the season beginning in most states, and that's coming really hot and heavy in. Hope you're practicing with your bow, and you can make sure that you're on track with these June events. It's a little bit shorter. Again, that priority of a charity event takes a lot, and a lot of these chores are reflective of what I'm actually doing on the land and the property at this time. And I hope you can make sure you get a lot of work done, and it'll be amazing how you can cruise into this hunting season and not only have a great hunt, but feel really relaxed and low stress. You got a lot of work done this year because you've been following along and making sure you're on track for these chores every single month this season. Folks, I want to make sure you check out my web class video series, whether it's how to design your food plot program or how to design your property in general. And we have a new one coming out that'll be how to hunt the rut. But these bucks back here are a testament. Some of these bucks go back to '93. They're even in different states. I urge you to check out those web classes that you can help yourself, help your land, help your hunt. The link is in the description. And also for those that have tried them out, I encourage you to offer some feedback in the comments below. Thank you.